in terms of political influence in this country. In fact, they said, go back to Bondo and don't come back again, or Poda Farm. And they knew that Raila was completely finished and that he was never going to influence anything in this country. Lo and behold, I think everybody was wrong, because now the Raila we are seeing here is the Raila of the 80s and 90s, and is back again in a way that even people in government are saying, look, what happened? And let me tell you, in 2022, if God gives Raila life, it's still going to 2027. It's still going to really have a great influence. But what he's saying is, look, all my MPs who had given up on me, and because they were now elected, are now dining with the president. I don't think, in this case, these people made a wrong judgment. I just think that they made the judgment too soon, because they didn't know what Raila was doing. But
I wonder, why are you saying you think the people who left, some of these politicians who left, who seem to have left Azimio and joined Kenya Kwanza, made the decision soon? Yet the argument has always been, we want our people to get development from the national government. Yes, we're doing this for our people, the people that we're leading.
That's exactly where I was going to. Because what the president has done, and he's a very smart president, no doubt, he knew very well that for me to run this country without any complaints or with great rubber stamping from Parliament, I need to put Parliament in my pocket. I need to build bridges. I need to build relationship. And I need to go for those MPs that ordinarily will vote against the government because they're from the opposition. I need to have a relationship with them. And he's done that up to a personal level. He's done that to a point where the backyard of Raila, there are MPs now that are saying, look, for example, in Game, you can hear member of parliament of Game, totally disagreeing with Raila and saying, no, this is not the way we want to go, because he's made a personal relationship with the president. To that extent, you're sure that when there will be any voting in parliament, yes, he's in the opposition, but he will be voting for parliament. And this is perhaps where Raila is thinking, if I continue this way, I will not even have a voice in parliament.
All right.
Because that's where ordinarily, if you're a political big figure, you want to be heard in parliament. But if you've already lost 3/4 of your members of parliament to government, then what say do you have in parliament? And I think that's what is hurting. To that extent, to that extent, I think he's right. But remember that the president also wants to run a country in the best way possible. And as a person, he's reaching out, and you can't fault him on that.
All right. Anyoka, and I mean, you wanted to say something before I move to my next question.
But within the political circles, each person will go to pick from the other person's, basket, whatever they can get. There's nothing wrong for Ruto wanting everybody to be UDA. I mean, he's a politician.
But he said he wanted a strong opposition.
Yeah, let them be strong and not choose not to go there. You see, he has not forced anybody from opposition to go and join him in his ranks, go to State House and do all these things. They have just voluntarily gone there. And for the work of the opposition is to disorganize government. And this is precisely what Raila is doing. And he has the options, including mass action, which is what he's precisely doing. So that then, for politically, that cannot be a reasonable demand. You cannot start saying, no, stop talking to my people. They're members of parliament. They need to talk to the president at whatever is the head of state, not the head of a political party. And therefore, you can't be an elected leader who cannot be able to access head of state on some level of consultation, including some requests. What I don't agree with them is that they are going to State House to look for development. We move from that era. We have a constitution.
But that is how the president resides. Lazima uende rais yuko.
See him for everything else. But
muongee vizuri.
That is okay. See him for everything else. But don't tell us you've gone there because you want development. There's no development in the State House. We moved from that era during the Moi time, when you could tell people openly,
so where do you want them to meet?
Siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. We move from that level. Kenyans deserve development wherever they are.
All right.
There's the role of the president. There are things the executive can be able to do as an arm of government. Is the head of the executive. As a member of parliament, yes, you are entitled. Go to State House, discuss particular things where the executive should be involved. But not going there because you are going to now ask, you want the road.
All right. All right. There's this question that I had to ask you, but I think I will address it to Agwanda, because that question comes from the region where he comes from.
Okay.
Kisumu County.
Yeah, we actually come from the same region. So
he's from Nyanza. You are from Luo Nyanza. He's from...
No.
The region is the same. The counties are different.
The counties are different. The region is the same. But now I am zeroing it down to that lakeside part, the lakeside city of Kisumu.
Yeah.
You know, as your brothers and sisters would call it, the lakeside of Siri of Kisumu. We are seeing what Nyong'o, you know, the governor of Kisumu County did yesterday, you know, gave out a statement that tukuje Nairobi, tukuje huku tuandamane. And Sakaja is like, no, Nairobi governor is like, no. My city is not a place for demonstrations. In fact, I'm banning a demonstration here in Nairobi. You know, the same way you want development to happen in Kisumu County, that is the same thing I want for my county. And then later on, he retracts his statement.
By the way, nowadays they call it Kisumu is UK, just so that you may know.
Okay.
Yeah. And they speak Queen's
United
English
Kingdom
over there.
Okay.
But I saw that statement yesterday when the governor of Kisumu, Professor Nyong'o, decided that to ban a demonstration. But you know what surprised me? Shortly after that, the leader of Azimio team tweets and says, look, let demonstration continue. In the letter that we saw that was written by the governor, it was in consultation with the leadership of Azimio. And then the head of Azimio comes out and recant and say, look, a demonstration continues. I don't know whether he's falling out with his boss. Professor Nyong'o is falling out with his boss.
But today there was actually peaceful demonstrations in Kisumu.
Very, very peaceful.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Professor Nyong'o knows that where Raila is involved is not supposed to have any directive, because you know, if Raila says it, it will be done, whether he says no or yes. And by him saying no to it and Raila says yes, it shows you that there's already a rift in between them.
But why do you think, Agwanda, that the governor of Kisumu would say hapa kwangu hakuna demonstration, twende Nairobi?
Well, two things people are saying on the street. One is because they thought, I think the governor has seen some really nasty demonstration in the last two demonstrations. Supermarkets have been, you know, stoned, and we know Sarova Hotel has been stoned, and quite a bit has happened that were a little bit ugly. And I think the governor was saying, look, I've really tried to build this city, and I don't want to see the destruction for that reason. And another thing is, people are saying the governor has just signed $42 billion, billion that is supposed to come to Kisumu, and for that reason the donors are going to say, look, how do you expect us to bring this money when your city is so volatile, when your city is not a place we can even invest anything on it? And so the aspect of bringing it to Nairobi is because Honorable Raila Odinga domiciles there, and if he says, look, we are going this direction, we'll probably go there. But that might not have been the good reason. And for Sakaja to say, look, don't come back here, and this is not the place, and also say I'm banning this. Well, where did he go to court, and when did he finally decided that he can ban a demonstration which is legally allowed by law, you know, and picketing which is allowed by law? And so you can see that these are PR issues, and today a demonstration is happening in Nairobi where the governor, who say that the demonstration will not be done here, domiciles. And so you can see that people are trying to do PR, but they know for a fact. It's just like the deputy president saying, arrest this guy, but he's the number 2 most powerful person in this country. He should be ordering for arrest, even though we know that the police is independent. But what we're saying is you can do certain things, but if you don't follow the law, sometimes you shall follow them.
Right.
And last time I said this, let our leaders start reading their speeches so that they're not caught off guard by saying things that are off the law, but also that will bite them again.
All right. So, Anyoka, the central region, after that invasion of the Kenyatta's land, we are seeing even on social media platforms, even political leaders, they seem to be really angered, and it's more like a division is happening within, you know, the mountain is crying, and it's crying very loudly.
Brenda, whoever advised anybody to mobilize goons to go and attack that property did the most, forgive me for lack of a better word, most stupid thing I've ever seen in any leadership. Because you cannot expose property And remember, Central Region is known for very hardworking Kenyans. People have land here and there. They work out to get their properties. And you are telling them that, look, one of your most promising, a very strong family can be attacked. And therefore, you're not safe. That is the simple message. And this will, of course, affect the mountain in a big way. There are those, whether you like retired President Uhuru Kenyatta or not, you cannot justify that particular action. Unfortunately, those who said, I saw on another media house, the CS Ichungwa, trying, the majority leader Ichungwa, trying to defend himself desperately, if you ask me, on his earlier statement, because it was taken on that question. And you said it has happened almost exactly as you said it. So you cannot tell us that you do not know about this. And I was trying to defend himself quite acrimoniously, if you ask me. And this will therefore bring consequences. The political, when the political dust settles, when all this mandamano settles, there will be reality here. That there are things that these people say, and it will have to haunt them for a very long time. And they have to be answerable to their own people. Yes.
But what reality are you actually talking about?
The reality is very simple. That you are calling, you are almost associated with the possibility that these organized groups that are outside the law that can go to destroy properties, and you seem to have knowledge about it. And therefore, you are actually not a safe person to be in a leadership position. Because you operate outside the law.
So Agwanda, the president jetted back into the country today. Right now, he's in a meeting with UK, Kenya business people, just along Mombasa route here. Once he leaves that meeting, he has a lot to handle, including this big invasion on the land of the former president. How will he undo what has already been done by whoever? Because there are accusations and counter-accusations. Oh, Azimio people plotted this, they wanted to do it to get sympathy. Azimio team is accusing the Kenya Kwanza team. How will the president undo what was done when he was out of the country? And do you think actually he can reach out to the president?
First of all,
the former president, sorry.
I'm glad the president is back in the country, because I think then we can have things in order. But let me bring you back memory lane. I did a little bit of digging on this land that we're talking about. First of all, the land that they're saying belongs to Uhuru Kenyatta does not belong to Uhuru Kenyatta. That land belongs to his father. And actually, go memory lane, his father got a loan from Barclays Bank and bought that land from their in-laws. Okay? It's in record, and they know that. And so if you want to prosecute Uhuru Kenyatta on this land, then you're wrong, because the land does not belong to Uhuru Kenyatta. It belonged to his father, who bought it from a loan that he got from Barclays Bank. When it comes to Spectra, I am aware, because I've talked to Dr. Buru himself and I've read his book as well, that this Spectra was begun with a loan that was given to the late Oginga Odinga from National Bank. And when Raila was in jail, Oginga Odinga was equally in jail, in confinement, really was not free to move, that a lot of his properties were sold so that they could salvage this property. And guess who was their lawyer? Now Governor James Aggrey Orengo, who was their lawyer. In other words, Raila had nothing to do with this property. You want to prosecute him because now he's getting an inheritance that his father lost so much property and bought as a result of a loan that he got from a national bank. You're wrong. You want to prosecute Uhuru Kenyatta because he inherited a property that perhaps his father, that rightfully his father bought with a loan. Are you wrong? And so when we're saying that we want to get our Mau land that was taken away from us by the colonials, we are missing the point. The reality is you invaded a private property. If you had any reason to invade that private property, the procedure is very clear, and my friend here will tell you go to court. And once you go to court, you'll find justice out of it. But again, it exposes security details in this country, because here is a place with a police station. The cops are told, leave that area. and go to the nearest
Can you
police station.
substantiate your statement when you're saying that the cops are
There
told?
is a police station domicile there.
Yes, but you're saying that the
they were
cops were told leave this
yeah,
station.
that's the information that is being alleged out there, that leave the area and then something happens. The question is, who gave that order and from whom did it come from? That must come to book. Whether he's arrested or not, people will know who gave that order. And it doesn't matter how many times they go on TV and deny it. People know that those people who are hired, somehow, somewhat, their information was put down because they had to be paid for the work they were doing. And that is how we'll get this information. But let me finish by saying this. You want to divide this country into a serious class status, the poor and the rich, start that kind of a thing, and nobody will be safe. Now I know there are rumors that the military or some people in the military are saying, look, if you don't protect the president, we might as well protect him because he was our boss, and for that reason it might fall under us. Well, remember, there's a president sworn in place. And if say that is even true, that what they're talking about, even if there were just rumors, then you must know that you're probably dealing with something that might amount to unmanageable status of insecurity in this country, if they will even be thinking of that. Because first thing is protect our leaders, and not just our leaders, but the property of every individual, regardless of whether they're in position or not. And if you can go for the president property, ex-president property, or a former president property, you can go for a former prime minister property. Let me tell you, those goons that were hired will have no respect to anybody in this country, including even the IG himself when he retires.
All right. And the question that many Kenyans are asking, it's good even Agwanda has brought it up because it was my question to you, Anyoka, is, I mean, yes, the president was out of the country. The deputy president was holding fort for those days that the president was not in. It was just a matter of a phone call because it was on the social media platform. Every media house, including KTN, we gave the pictures, the videos, you know, everything that was happening. We had the reporters on the ground, Jeff Kirui, and other stations also had the reporters on the ground talking about the same thing. The president, the deputy president, the CS for Interior was just a phone call away to bring this to an end. But it went on for hours. Then at night, we see it's burning.
Two things you need to know about the police station, even before I directly answer or comment on what you've said. Firstly, the gate to a police station and the main door to a police station is never closed. It is always open, day and night. That's the first thing. Secondly, there is always somebody at the station, somebody on duty, both day and night. So that if there was a crime that is being reported, there will be somebody at the station to record it, there will be some level of command, and it's done. And finally, you need to know that police work on command basis. So that if for any strange reason, everyone is evacuated from a police station, that's extremely strange, somebody gave the order.
So you agree with Agwanda?
I do not know who gave the order, but somebody gave the order somewhere. It's a command-based system. So that the in charge will tell people, now take all the officers from Andamano elsewhere. Which is strange because always as a gazetted station, there are arms, firearms in a police station. There are bullets there. You cannot let people live without guarding those particular things. Who will take care of them? Thugs will go in and break in and take the firearms and they'll cause mayhem. So for security reasons, there's an armory in every station.
So who failed? Who failed the country?
This is the first, put the blame where it belongs. First, it is the Inspector General of Police. All the police officers are under the direct command, operation-wise, and the Inspector General of Police. So that is the first person. Then you can go down to the area commandant, the OSPD of that region, and the OCS. So the people directly take the blame. Then you have to also give blame to the Cabinet Secretary of Interior, before you even go to the president. Because these are the people who are actually on the ground and responsible for the security of the Kenyans. So that if this report, for some reason, if you tell me that the police never knew 24 hours down the line that there is an attack going on a private property, There are people are selling sheep. In fact, I passed there later after I left the interview, and they wanted to sell for me a sheep at 2,000 shillings.
You are not tempted to buy like.
No, they give me an offer.
Someone I saw a video was making rounds on social media trying to open the boot, and it couldn't open until the other gentleman she was with tried, and it totally
just refused, because you cannot be stealing. You cannot do that, and it's true. Because the young men there were asking me, just at 2,000 we'll give you sheep. And since I knew the story, I just didn't want to get involved. I drove off. But this was happening daytime. It was not at night. And you tell me that our National Police Service did not have this information, then we are in deep trouble.
All right.
Then you cannot tell me the same people are capable of containing terrorists when they come to the country.
All right.
I just want to remind you one thing before. Remember that if you are an IG or police commissioner, then you will be allowed a police station within your area, within your home. The president has a leeway. He can literally have a police station next to his home and anywhere else you want to. And therefore, the question of whether the police station was there or not, it cannot even be asked. We know that there was a police station there.
All right. So just remind our viewers that we're still keeping tabs with that live coverage of the Azimio Mass Action. This is the third mass action, week 2, week 1. It only happened on Monday. Week 2, Monday, Thursday, and that is what was announced by the Azimio leadership, that this Mandamano will be happening every week on Monday and Thursday. And we have seen property destroyed on Monday this week, and the last week on Monday, lives have been lost, people have been injured based on this Mandamano. And that is why members of the business community, members of the church, politicians from the Kenya Kwanza team, and last week on Monday, we also saw the deputy president asking Azimio team to actually call off the strike, not strike, I don't know why I keep on mentioning strike, but to call off their demos so as to find ways of channeling the dispute that they have with the government. In every stop that Raila Odinga has done, he's talked about issues that touch on Kenyans. Actually, one major issue that touches on Kenyans, and this is the cost of living, saying that the cost of living has to go down. And he's also talked about the reinstatement of IBC commissioners who left office, and talking about the selection panel and the dismembering of some of the opposition leaders, elected leaders who have sort of been seen like they've decamped to the Kenya Kwanza administration. And so it is an in-depth coverage, a 360 angle degree in-depth coverage in a balanced way, only the best way that we can. And just remind you that yesterday Raila Odinga met the senator for Delaware, that is Chris Kun, and he wrote even on his social media platform, specifically Twitter, 17 hours ago, saying that he had a great meeting yesterday with the U.S. Senator and his delegation to discuss developments in our country. We had a fruitful discussion on the importance of upholding the Constitution and the rule of law, and agreed to keep the channels of communication open. And Chris Kun also met the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. But this is not the only person that Raila Odinga has met. He also talked about having an dialogue with the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops regarding the current political situation in the country. And he says that they've pledged to maintain engagement with the KCCB standing for the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, and other faith communities, as we work towards ensuring that Kenya is back on the right track. Everyone trying to reach out to Raila Odinga and President William Ruto. So I wonder if the president agrees, should he agree to actually have a meeting with Raila Odinga? Do you think this round it will be different in terms of Raila not going alone? I
think Honorable Raila Odinga was faulted for his entire time. In fact, one of the reasons why they are insisting that this time, if he's going anywhere, he must have a team with him, is they think that because it was just a tour of them, that he did not cling to the presidency, because he assumed a lot. He assumed that President Uhuru Kenyatta was going to do everything for him. Remember, this is the time that ODM did not even have a tallying center. This is the time they had issues that were there before of paying agents. This is a time that perhaps the most disorganized organization in terms of managing presidential campaign than ever, because the trust was given to, we are now with the state and Uhuru Kenyatta is the president, but they did not look at the details. And so it is very clear, and the people, his allies are telling him, if you go it alone, we are not with you. And I don't think Raila wants to make that mistake again. He might want to bring a team like what happened in 2007, 2008, where there were people from the government side and there are people from the opposition, and to make concrete decisions in furtherance and development of this nation, but not for personal gain, as they've always accused him, that when he goes there alone, it ends up being a Raila affair and not what everybody else wants. Remember, that is very short-lived, because after that, then we go back to the street again, because, oh, it's just been short-changed again. Look at this, we kind of expected it. We don't want that to happen. So if he's going to have a very, very hearty discussion with the president and the president team, he better form a team that will be able to bring something in the interest of the nation, for free and fairness in terms of our electoral process, for ensuring that this kind of thing that my brother was saying, that if it's a server, we have to own it, so that if it goes to court, that's what it's placed before the court first. And that if they're thinking about parliamentary way, then they change the constitution by involving everybody and knowing that, look, it seems like our presidency has failed in this country, and so if we want to go parliamentary way, where all parliamentarians are represented, are important in the laws of that country, then they change it to that extent. So I don't think we will be willing to go alone. And as I conclude on this, I'm seeing this discussion getting tougher and tougher, because today you can hear Raila saying wheezy, so already is branding the government, as wheezy, and ukorofu, those kind of things. And so the longer we wait, the harder it's going to be, because the other side will not stop to howl insult back here, and then it just gets graver and graver and harder to mitigate. And so I think the sooner we do this, the better.
All right. So, Anyoka, do you think, based on what we are seeing, because I remember, I've had you guys here, this is the second time.
Yes.
And, last Monday we had Agwanda. This is the second time I'm having you and Agwanda during this Azimio Mass Action. And by this time, it's actually 3:28. We were always seeing running battles, between the police officers. Tear gas canisters being lobbied, and that water cannon tractor doing the work it should be doing. But today, it's a totally different story. And this is what even you people and other politicians and what Azimio have been calling for. Just allow us to do our thing, we finish, and we go. So why do you think, can it be change of tact by the government?
This I think, first of all, is very commendable if it remains this way, because we are not likely in this to get anybody loose alive, or there's no likelihood that some property will be destroyed, unless it's ordinary thuggery, which is there. It's not ordinary thuggery is there not because Mandamano exists. Thugs are there every day, snatching phones on the streets, breaking into shops. That is normal, and it's not because of the mass action. So if the police have heeded to the court directions, and they have heeded to the advice both they're getting from media, from KTN, from the analysis we are doing, from the lawyers' advice, that don't let Kenyans demonstrate if they want to.
It's not because of the visitor we have in town. There is the sheriff in town.
There is a fear that the sheriff in town, and perhaps that is why they want to put a good face. But you see, ultimately, you can't hide this. Even if you are to have these water cannons and the tear gas lobbied on people demonstrating, there's international media, it will report. So definitely it won't change much. But I think I want to have a feeling that they are likely to change the tactic and avoid a lot of loss of property and destruction of property and lives being lost, because when you start this kind of push and pull, within the demonstration system, then you end up having people injured. You ultimately get now thugs coming in that confusion and having a destruction of people's properties. So if they could want to change this, it would be a very good thing.
All right.
Because ultimately you will find these people wherever they reach, they'll be addressed and people go home. They're tired.
Yeah, because
but once you agitate them with tear gases, you have water cannons, you embolden this group. You make them become stronger.
All right. Because at this time we would be seeing a different picture altogether.
Yes.
Gwanda. And Gwanda, earlier on you were saying maybe it's because of the visitor that we have in town. Who do you think might have made this call of, okay, let's have the police officers, security apparatus closer just to watch whether things are going to run smoothly but not distract them?
One of the things that I think President Ruto is looking at is going to lose an image internationally. If this kind of thing continues and battles on the ground, what happens is the US and the UK have given a travel advisory. Once that happens, then you stop guests from coming into this country. You cannot do that for Nairobi. Nairobi owns UNEP, or hosts UNEP, and many other international agencies in this country. And what happens when the economy is so bad and we also starve of dollars, that means that our economy is going to go down and down because we'll be looking for these dollars and we can't get them.
Right.
But most importantly, I really think that heads must roll. On the invasion of President Uhuru Kenyatta's land, heads must roll to maintain the integrity and the honor and the respect of private property in this country, and also to maintain the confidence of the investors that want to come to this country. They must be told that, look, that was a mistake, and for that reason, heads must roll. And I think the IG, in his wherever he is having a ball on his face, and he's saying, I make more mistakes, I'm going to go home. I'd rather play by what the Constitution provides for me. Arrest these guys, just make sure that I get hold of them when they do, destruction or they do anything out of the ordinary. But in terms of what the law allows them in picketing and demonstration, the law allows them to do that. And I think the IG is coming to his senses. So we can
say what we are seeing is peaceful demonstration.
That is really peaceful. We haven't seen anything.
Okay.
The cameramen are all there, all the media stations are there. We haven't seen anything ugly, and it's been over 2 hours, them just going slowly. And so when you know for a fact that you could be headhunted for a wrongful submission, and especially like what happened, then the IG need to be careful, because when he will take responsibility, even the person that purportedly gave him the order will not be there. He will be told, this is an independent institution, you are the head of this institution, you cannot bring our country down, go home. And so he has to do the right thing.
Right. So, Anyoka, do you think the Azimio One Kenya coalition will get tired with having these mass actions twice a week?
No, I don't see it happening.
If this happens, this peaceful demonstration happens.
No, with the Raila that we know, that is going to happen. In fact, we will change tactic and make it more difficult. I think part of the things that Azimio is doing, even without going to town straight, is to just test the waters. He's trying to find out a weak point, how he will just perhaps cause more mayhem in town and bring numbers there and make his statement, really. I'm not seeing, Raila Odinga has in the past shown that he normally has the long game. It's not about
It's a long game plan.
It's a long game plan. It's not something that is doing that he will get tired tomorrow and just exit. It is going to do it now. You see, he's gone through, I'm seeing like he's visiting various regions within Nairobi and its environs. He was in Kawangware, went to Kibera. Today is in Mukuru, and probably will go to Pipeline area and go those Umoja Tazia. Tomorrow perhaps he'll start from Mathare, who knows? Come from that from the Mathare region and is achieving his objective. And one thing you realize, despite the fact that he has not been able and his team to access town, the impact is there. The town is a ghost. There's nobody working there. There's nobody, no vehicle, there's nothing. It is just a deserted place. People are scared. The image has been, the message has been...
But what we are seeing now,
yes,
it's peaceful, no tear gas canisters or water cannons. Can it convince business people within the CBD and other Kenyans to operate as usual?
It can't, because this is not the problem. When they are having demonstrations, you never know when chaos will reign in.
Right.
And you don't want to be caught in that melee of that up and down running.
Right.
Many of the people lose their lives is because accidentally a bullet just was misfired and you were not careful, you were standing somewhere innocently and you were on the way, the arm's way, and get injured.
All right. So Agwanda, has Azimio team been vindicated finally with what we are seeing?
There will be a lot of meetings tonight, both in the government quarters and also Azimio quarters.
A post
analysis. A post-demonstration analysis. And I think they have indicated, if you look at what has happened in Kisumu, it was a very peaceful process. If you look at what is happening over here, it's a very peaceful process. And this is what people are going to say, that if given an opportunity, we are peaceful people. And therefore, are the cops the one that are causing this destruction and mayhem and confrontation? And today, that is what you'll see on the headline, a peaceful demonstration experience in Nairobi. And for that reason,
and we pray that it remains peaceful.
Everybody will be calling for a peaceful experience. My only point is these are Kenyans. Whether policemen or the citizens that are demonstrating, one thing that we must pray for is we must uphold the dignity of life. Whoever you're beating out there, whether it's a cop or not, that could be your uncle, your brother, your sister. That could be somebody, your child, whom you didn't know was in the crowd. And when he's dead and you go back home and you realize that you saw somebody, you're hurting. Yes, you ask a very fundamental question. What if they go to town and then, people close shops? Let me tell you, demonstrations and picketing are not supposed to be sometimes in a manner to allow peaceful coexistence, but just the presence of many people alone sometimes overwhelm you. Have you been in a house and you find 20 relatives and you're like, whoa, what do I do here? Now that's how the politicians, the businessmen will feel when this group goes to town. I believe even the places they're going through, there are shops, but those guys have closed. But remember, it's just momentarily. After that, you can open your shop once they go and life continues. Right. So they should be allowed to do their picketing, and more so they should be allowed to present their petition so that Parliament can also act on this. And I think all I'm waiting for is for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga to present a petition in Parliament, because really that's where laws are changed. And it seems like he's not getting a hold of it. Once he does that, Parliament should be glad. The Speaker of the National Assembly and the Senate should be glad to receive that petition. Have that debate in Parliament so that as they picket, there is also a legal channel of discussing some of the grievances that they're having in this nation.
All right, and that is Kware area, actually Outer Ring Road. And a few minutes ago, it was too early to call, gentlemen, because a few minutes ago, I think I said, that's tear gas canister. If I'm not wrong, it was too early to call.
Looks like that we praised them too early. I think
too early.
Yeah, looks like
so let's get to hear from Beldin. Beldin Waliaula. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we are with we're with Agwanda and Anyoka here in studio, and we're actually praising the police officers for maintaining peace and order by way of not, water cannons being sprayed on Kenyans who are peacefully demonstrating and lobbing tear gas. Can you actually talk to us, tell us what has caused what we are seeing on the screen right now?
But what we are seeing is quite different, because in front of me, there around the Kware Bridge, you can see the water cannons, the pink water actually being sprayed on people right now. There are some youths who are standing on the other side of the road of Outer Ring Road, just here at Kware. So there's a water cannon there spraying some, I call it the pink water. And it's quite calm on the other side, but the other side we are having police officers barricading the road, trying to stop the Azimio protesters to come this other end, because I'm informed that they're trying to access Jacaranda, and this is one of the routes to Jacaranda, though there's another route from Utawala through 75 to Jacaranda. So one of the roads to Jacaranda is this road, so where the police officers are blocked. We're having youths with stones throwing here and there, but we are hoping that the situation will continue being peaceful as it is at the moment. It's just tear gas here and there, trying to control the rowdy youths who are throwing stones. But we are hoping that the situation will be calm And if the Azimio supporters will be using this route, then we'll be updating you as time goes.
Belden, do stay with me.
Yes.
So you're saying the water is totally different from today. It's pink, but that's not my question. That's not where I'm heading to. So Jacaranda, what you're telling us is that Jacaranda is the end game for the Azimio team, and there's a police barricade there. Might you be having any idea why the police officers do not want Raila Odinga and his team and supporters to land at Jacaranda?
I'm not sure why the police are preventing the Azimio supporters from accessing Jacaranda. Maybe they think they'll be rowdy, but at the moment it's just them trying to maintain the crowd from crossing to the other side. So we'll see if the protesters will manage to go to the other side, but you're not sure why the police are stopping the protesters from accessing Jacaranda.
All right, Beldin Waliaula, just hold on, don't go away, Beldin, because even what you're seeing on this other side, just away from the pictures you were showing us, this other side where Team Azimio is, you're also seeing, tear gas canisters being lobbed. Gentlemen, we actually, we judged, it was too early for us to call it. But Beldin, where you are and where Team Azimio is it far away? Probably maybe the tear gas canisters, the lobbed tear gas canisters you're seeing might be from the location where they are at right now.
Actually, it's not far. I can hear the crowd from where I am. I feel like they are near from where I am. So where I am is just a few meters away to Kware area and Mkurukwanjenga, where the protesters are at the moment.
All right.
So not far, they will be here, either using Outer Ring Road or the other, using the other route to Utawala to access Jacaranda.
All right. Beldin Walaula, asante sana. Kindly do keep safe because your safety is also important, even as you try and give us the live coverage of what is happening along Outer Ring Road. Gentlemen, it was too early to say that things are peaceful. So why last minute sort of a thing? I don't know that Nyoka, you want to start first or Agwanda?
Yeah. Let me go first on this, because firstly, it's very disappointing to know up to now it has been so peaceful. There is no one that has been harmed. There's nothing. It does not make any sense to stop people who have been on the road demonstrating and protesting from accessing a field if that is the intention. In fact, it will be better if you get them off the streets to whatever place they want to be. And I'm not very sure what the objective is, but I've seen also one of the news updates running on the screen that the CS of Interior says whether notice was issued or not, demonstrations are banned. Doesn't make sense to me. I've been seeing it running on the screens, but it makes no sense. The courts have been able to make a declaration on this matter. That is not how you contain a political question. That's not how you contain concerns that have been addressed. You can only embolden people.
Right.
That is the wrong call. It's a wrong move. It should not be accepted.
Right, Agwanda.
I think they started a few minutes after 1, and it is just about 3:45.
It's 4:45, and I mean by 1,
so
there was
that's basically
we're not seeing this sort of a
3,
situation.
Close about 4 hours of peaceful demonstration. Really, whoever made this decision must be able to give us a clear answer as to why they decided to lobby tear gas at them now. We are not there. We cannot say with certainty why, but we only hope that this demonstration, if we want to adhere to the laws of this country, that will allow people peaceful demonstration, that will not aggrieve them. I believe the places they pass, Utawala, not Utawala, but all the stops they've had, and if they left people there, those guys are celebrating because they had an opportunity to listen to the former Prime Minister, and they're now going on with their businesses.
But
these people now, that wherever they are, can't do their businesses. Even if they close, they know now it's getting vicious and people are going to be hurt there. I think about people's life more than the chest thumping, more than the bigness of an individual, more than the wave of carrying a weapon and saying, I'm so powerful because I have a tear gas canister and a water cannon and I can do anything and you can't do anything. And sometimes that's not how we want to run our country. And with all fairness, I don't think I want to see this when the president has just come in because perhaps we are the people who have caused more problems by saying, look, the policemen are doing well.
No.
And so they say, if they're really praising this demonstration, let's show them that it's not happened. But that's not it.
We were not actually praising these demonstrations. We were actually applauding the police officers, the process of ensuring that they conducted themselves in a peaceful way. We didn't see any tear gas canister even when Raila Odinga was making his way to Utawala, Embakasi South, and then now he's at Kware, heading to, they're supposed to go to Jacaranda, as my colleague Beldin Waliaula has said. And I would actually try to request if you can try and get a hold of Beldin Waliaula again, just to tell us what is happening there. Because this whole process was peaceful. It was peaceful until now. Anyoka, why do you think the police don't want Raila Odinga and his team to land there at the Jacaranda grounds?
I think perhaps if I could go into the mind of anybody who's giving this kind of order, around the Jacaranda grounds there is a big mass of people. And I want to suspect that they may be trying to control his access to this particular crowd of people and him implanting these ideas of the cost of living on the people. Remember, where Jacaranda is situated, there is a near slum around there. That is near Komarok. There is this other section of it, and it's quite. It has a large population of people. So even if it doesn't go to town and you meet this kind of crowd and your message is resonating, there's that level of fear. And I would imagine that justifies perhaps, or from their end, why they don't want these people to meet at that time. But you see, it doesn't make sense because ultimately, Kenyans are following.
Right.
Nowadays, in the urban settings, almost everybody has a small screen. They're able to follow what is happening. They have radios. They're able to listen in to what is happening. And they're able to get the message. And the message has been repeated over and over again by the Azimio team. Want the cost of living to go down, of course, they want the servers to be open, and all these issues, they have been restated for the last several days.
All right. And Agwanda, I'm just trying to look at the time right now. It is 3:48. We need to begin winding up in a 2 minutes. I'm being told by Director Karen that you have 2 minutes. So with that 2 minutes, a minute each. So Agwanda, I mean, if I may remember during the tenure of former President Uhuru Kenyatta, he would have come out to address the country. We have not seen the president, President William Ruto, come out to address Kenyans on this whole Mandamano issue. The only address we have seen happening is either in a gathering, maybe this homecomings, or even within the church premises. That is why we are seeing, responding to this Azimio Mass Actions and what the Azimio team is saying. Why not just come out and address the country?
Let me say this. President William Somaya Ruto seemed to have a lot of people speaking for him and on his behalf before he responds. Unfortunately, that is not really doing well with his government, because we have people who are spewing things that are culminating into the invasion, things like the invasion of a private property. And these people, if not checked, will really put him on defense to a point where basically he will be trying to put out the fires that these people have done. I really think that the president needs to take the leadership of this country really, really carefully and address matters by himself without allowing people to speak on behalf of the government. Those people, if anything, were not elected as a president of the Republic of Kenya. The president needs to address the nation on matters that seem to be a conflict, on matters of development, matters of international relationship, and he needs to go out there and people need to listen to him. And remember, the president is a very good orator for that reason. Why does he allow all these guys to speak on his behalf? I don't think they're making it any better for him.
They're called the foot soldiers.
Whether foot soldiers or not, ultimately the buck stops with them, and therefore it will be required to speak on behalf on these matters. And I think the earlier he does it, the better.
But the last time he talked to Agwandas and bring in Anyoka as we wind up, the last time he talked, he came out to talk. He addressed Raila Odinga directly and said, if you have a political problem with me, because this is a political situation, come and talk to me, let's address it, you know, the two of us, instead of involving Kenyans.
Well, he said it, and he's making it harder, and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is equally making it harder. And now the blame is on Uhuru Kenyatta. I really don't think that is where we need to put the blame. President Ruto has worked with Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. If we can just stop the name calling and insulting of each other, I think we can have a humble ground to have a discussion. But when you go to the pulpit and you're calling them names and you're calling somebody a thief, and and it's happening from both sides, and that needs to be stopped so that people can have an avenue to have a discussion. Otherwise, if it continues like this, it's going to be harder. And when it's getting harder, I don't think it's getting harder for the president or Raila Amolo Odinga. It's getting harder for Kenyans.
And when you're talking about it's getting harder, it's also getting harder for the team Azimio. Because a few minutes ago it looked like the motorcade was stopped. I mean, and this is finding Kenyans who are just doing their own businesses, going about their own businesses, having to look for something to cover their nose so not as to inhale the tear gas, just from what I'm seeing there. So we are just waiting to see whether they will actually make the final destination at the Jacaranda grounds, because the information we're getting also, so it's good that we have two split screens on your screen, our viewers. One is for the Outer Ring Road through my colleague Beldin Waliaula and our camera crew. The other part is for Kware. So that part for Kware is where the motorcade for the Azimio brigade is. So it looks like the motorcade has been stopped from accessing Jacaranda grounds. So Anyoka, even because I can see my colleague Hadia is ready, is actually in studio, ready to continue with this live transmission in Swahili language. The Azimio, I don't call them Azimio supporters, but those people who've come out to listen to Raila Odinga, how they've carried out themselves until now. And these are the same people that some politicians say they're rowdy, they're goons.
I think it's clear who is rowdy here. It is not the protesters. It is the police officers from whatever level of command they're getting who is starting the agitation. And obviously, it's common law of nature that if I were to hurt you, you'll do something to protect yourself. You will react in self-defense. You will react in trying to repel me from that particular setting. And that is what, if anybody was to throw a stone, it is being thrown to chase away the officers and stop them from throwing the canister, the tear gas canisters to them. And some of them get creative. They hold the same tear gas canisters and hold them back to the police officers. So that kind of chaos is being caused because the police have decided at this late hour to now become, throw the canisters. If they were only led to just continue with their address, have their road show all the way to Jacaranda, they will have their dance, they will have their road show, they will have their rally, and that is it. They will close the day, they will have final prayer. So I think it's very clear who is around here. It's not the people, really. And if there's any destruction, now it's in this kind of setting that we find thugs coming in. This kind of chaos will make, everyone's running helter-skelter. You have been tear-gassed in your shop, and you run in to go and try to get water. A thug takes advantage and survives the gas, but picks your goods and runs away. You cannot even run after that person because you are really caught up in this mix.
Right. So, gentlemen, it's about that time that we wound up this live transmission in English language, but Hadia is already in studio just to continue the Swahili language, but then it's still a stopover near Outer Ring Road, where that motorcade seems to have been stopped by police officers. But when we began this live transmission of this Azimio Mass Action, everything went smoothly. Reason as to why the police officers are stopping them is what we're yet to find out through my colleagues who are on the ground, and of course kudos to them for doing a fantastic job in terms of ensuring that we get the live transmission. Michael Agwanda, asante sana.
Asante sana.
And Dennis Anyoka, asante sana. Anyoka, you said it's called what? Destructive?
It's called constructive dismissal.
Constructive dismissal.
But this one is not constructive. You are actually dismissing us from the show.
All right, so I understand that they've managed to access Outer Ring Road, but what you're seeing there is a vehicle of a police officer parked right in the middle of the road. So, but then I understand they've managed to access Outer Ring Road. So now beyond there you go. So we want to see how that will play out for the Azimio team, whether they're going to use the other road that Beldin Waliaula talked to us about, the Utawala route to get to Jacaranda, or they'll be using the outer ring road, is what we're yet to see. The live pictures of this, the police officer lobbing tear gas canister to try and disperse some Kenyans who are there. But of course, business has been closed, what you're seeing on your screen. It's a slow day for residents of the outer ring road. So we just wait and see what will be happening there. A deserted road today, within the Eastlands area, outer ring road. It all started peacefully from Mombasa Road, from Upper Hill offices of Raila Odinga through Bunyala Road, Mombasa Road to Embakasi South, where he was at. He was in Embakasi South, and now just accessing that Jacaranda Road is going to remain a big headache for Azimio leaders who are actually leading some of their supporters there. And so we are bringing this to an end. I don't want to use the words of Anyoka the advocate. You said it's deconstructing or legal mind right there. My name is Brenda Zederadito. So Hadia is up next with the Swahili Bulletin, continuation of this live coverage. Kwa hivyo kwa sasa nasema asante sana, tuende madukani. Jina langu ni Brenda Zederadito, Agwanda na Anyoka, asanteni sana.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Thanks.
Kabisa. Lazima ingine. Wapende waseme. Hapa ndio naona ikiingia. Kwa nini wanapiga tia gas? You have no problem with that. Anafikia wapi? Anashapita pale. Ana Kila kinajiomba ile. Kuna gari zimetoka na huko nyuma.
Kuna msana anafanya nini huko?
Gari iko.
Sana ndio huko.
Very good. Mzurushie mawe kutoka huku nyuma bana.
Wewe hapana, wacheni tu.
Wacheni bana, wacheni oya. Wasirushe mawe hapa.
Ndio tulisema
Wao watu wanarusha mawe ndio wanarushiwa tu hapa.
Bendi, sisi ripoti leo.
Ngoja mbona tukwenda kwa mtayari kwa kwenda kupaka gari na mwambia napata gari na tuko. Hata kitu kwa time. Baba tukitaka ile ile kufuata na hiyo tabiti. Kama kama bayo kwa juu. Utakusha na yeye but tunajua tu. Ukirudi kipita.
Bwana nimeona niweke gari hapa juu kwa safe na mawe na unajua hawezi tupa kutia gas hapa.
KTN News. Get the whole story.